after many, many hours of editing. Honestly, if my brain's not happy now, I don't know what to tell it. Get your power back. Bit of a dramatic intro. You know, yours truly likes to make things a little dramatic for fun sometimes in her videos. What I want to talk about in this video is actually quite potent, and I can't honestly recall if I've done a video on it or I haven't. Either way, it's something which was initially introduced to me by my mentors, of which you guys know I'm loving my mentors lately. And it's very, very powerful, and it's something which also I'm going through and growing through in my life currently, is this process of transmutation, of alchemization. Had to make sure I was getting that word right as it came out of my mouth. So what I wanted to share in this video is how to turn your pain into your message, and or perhaps your pain into your fuel is more aptly said. It's something you can do, and it used to be something which, if I'm quite honest, I was a little bit afraid to do. I actually honestly thought that if I am turning this negative experience and I'm chewing it up and reusing it for something else, that I'm giving out negative energy. And I was like, I don't want to make creations with negative energy. Until I learned the trick. The trick is essentially to learn the lesson from what it is that you're learning, and then use that as like your firewood, your kindling, to light yourself a flame and really go for it with the things that you're passionate about. I'm trying to think of a particularly clear example of this so that it's not confusing, as I sometimes have the habit of giving examples that are a little bit like out there. You guys know me, I kind of live out in the ethers. So I wanted to talk about this transmuting your pain into your power because it's something which time and time again has helped me. You know, almost every time that I have gone through something difficult, I guess you could say I forced myself, but I chose to use that destruction as fuel, to use that pain as fuel. And you may ask yourself how. Well, and this may seem a strange example. This is not a personal example. This is just something I can think of that you could use more practically. Let's take yoga as an example, or something physical. Let's say you're trying to increase the number of like push-ups you can do in a day. And let's say that there's person A over here who has said, hey, Sally Joe, you can't do push-ups. So now, every time you go to do push-ups, you get into your push-up position and you hear, hey, Lisa Joe, you can't do push-ups. Guess what, Buttercup? Instead of listening to that and letting her, this figment essentially at this point of your imagination, get the better of you, get the control in this situation, fight back. What do I mean? I don't mean literally like Decker in your head and in your imagination or anything like that. No, no, no. What I mean is use that. I used to be a little bit afraid of anger, and I think that there's a healthy place for anger. Now, don't go crazy with this. I know people, you give them an inch, they take a mile. I'm not saying to do anything aggressive whatsoever. What I mean though is, instead, if you hear something like that voice of the person saying, you can't do X, you can't do Y, you can't do Z, instead of allowing that to be the loud voice, say, oh yeah, this is just a for example, but you can use, of course, your own words. But what I sometimes say is, oh yeah, watch me. And I do that thing, and I'll make sure that I give my everything to that thing, and I'll do it so well. Now you might be there like, but Sham, aren't you sort of just like proving yourself then, and we really don't need to prove ourselves to anyone, which is true. I grant you that. And I would also say that no, I'm not proving it to anyone. If anything, this plays more into the video I did recently about keeping your word to yourself and how that is so incredibly important. Because as I spoke about in that video, what happens is when we say we're going to do something, say it's something as simple as I'm going to learn to do 30 push-ups. Every time, in fact, the very minute that we don't follow through with that, or that we don't practice, or that our inner self starts to be like, oh, like smaller and smaller and smaller, because they're like, oh, so I'm just not getting paid attention to. Whereas if you take this example like I gave, where someone's talking crap about you and they're saying you can't do something, you take that and you use that as fuel, turn it around in your head and say, oh yeah, you think I can't? And you do those push-ups, and heck, do an extra one, because you know what, before you know it, you'll be doing 30, 40, 50 push-ups. I don't know if that made a lot of like verbal sense. Hopefully though, you guys understand where I'm coming from with this. Allow those, if it's words from people, allow those harmful words from people to become like a literal fire in your belly that drives you. Not to an unhealthy extent, but that fuels you. That when you say to yourself, oh, I can't, you say, oh yeah, but so-and-so also thought you couldn't. So do you want to let them be right? It's not really about right or wrong. Again, I feel like I might be losing the track here. The point is that it's twofold. Is that one, the more you uphold the word to yourself, the more actually everybody's going to respect you, because you're respecting yourself more, which is really, really crazy. And the second really interesting thing that happens is that, and it's sort of weird, but because you've disconnected from the experience of experiencing the pain, that girl's words or whatever telling you can't, and you've instead used it towards something good, you will no longer care what anybody thinks about that. And that is actually a good thing. The only person at the end of the day you really should care about, and again, I say this with the caveat, don't be hurting anyone. That's the only stipulation. The minute you hurt anybody else, all bets are off. As long as you're not harming anyone, if you're converting that thing that is painful for you into something which is positive, then you are alchemizing it. And it is no longer a negative thing or a negative experience. You have flipped that energy, and that is a beautiful work to be doing. So I wanted to share that with you, that it is entirely possible and in fact useful and helpful to, if you can remember to do so, whenever you can remember to do so, to turn these hurtful things, hurtful comments, people's words, people's disbelief in you, to use that as your strength. It's a really strange thing to do at first. Use those. Use that. It is your power in a way. It's a weird power that you do have to turn around and turn things into gold for yourself. If this video has helped you, please do share it with anyone you think it might also help. Subscribe, and don't forget to tick the bell, because I do upload daily and it's the only way for me to get the word out to all of you beautiful humans. And last but not least, if you, my beautiful spirit soul, need some support or anything else from me, reach out at this email address here and it would be my pleasure to serve you. Have a beautiful and blessed rest of your day. Namaste, much love, and I will see you, gorgeous cats, in the next video. But I don't mean literally like Decker in your head and in your imagination or anything like that. No, no, no. Until, holy cow, oh yeah, watch me. Here I am to save the day.